Alright, so here is the newest journal discussion, and this I will title the young guard foolishly tips their hand. Alright, and this focuses on the most on the defeated Peter Phillips after helping to give the PNP party his most crushing defeat. And yeah, there's been a post struggle within the party, and which has been so obvious because at this point they're running around like a chicken with their head cut off. No, what has happened 2 days ago is that the leader of the PNP youth organization, Crystal Tomlinson, basically gave Peter Phillips an ultimatum, and it says, ultimatum, Phillips given 30 days to quit, rejects PNP youth organization Senate list. And yeah, and here I'm going to talk about why this was a mistake, and that's not going to go well for PNP youth organization especially. So let's read the article. So People's National Party president, well, about to be former president and opposition leader Dr. Peter Phillips appears to have rejected suggestion of the by the PNPYO's organization for the Senate appointments, even as it given has been given an ultimatum by the young comrades to vacate his post within 30 days. Yeah, I read that right. Yeah, that was, and doesn't really, that more sounds like a threat right there. And this is why this is going to bite the PNPYO youth organization big time. The new opposition senators who are to be sworn in today are Norman Horn, Janice Allen, Gabriel Morris, Donna Scott Motley, Dr. Floyd Morris, Sophia Fraser Binns, Damon Crawford, and Lambert Brown. Yeah, these are the very few people who lost their seats, apparently. All right, Phillips said the group reflected the PNP's commitment to a Senate as the distinct deliberative body as intended by the Constitution of Jamaica. Unsuccessful candidates in the recently held general elections were overlooked. Well, yeah, you can understand why that, cause like I said, you reward success and you punish failure. I mean, but then again, with both parties in Jamaica, sometimes the opposite holds true. All right. None of the disseminations suggested PNP, uh, suggested by the PNPYO have been included in the final list of opposition senators. The recommended list sent by Phillips by the PNPYO President Crystal Tomlinson, Michael Hemmings, Zuleika Jess, Omar Newell, Raymond Price, Patricia Duncan Sutherland, and Wevell Hines. In a leaked letter under the signature of Tomlinson, the PNPYO this past Monday called for Phillips to make clear his resignation date within 30 days before the local government elections, which are due in November. Quote unquote, if our councillors and councillor candidates are to escape a fate similar to our parliamentary candidates, electors must be convinced that the PNP is changing gears and among the changes they expect this new leadership, the letter stated. Well, yeah, that goes without saying. Given the PNP opposition leader an thinly veiled threat was not the smartest way to go, and I'll tell you why after finish reading this. Like, Phillips, in the aftermath of heavy defeat at the September 3 polls, indicate that he had been sent a resignation letter to the chairman of the party, but would hang on till a new leader was elected. Phillips said that he intended to fulfill all the roles that were linked to the PNP presidency, including being leader of the opposition. The PNP is to establish a committee to investigate the election laws. Yeah, investigation for the laws doesn't mean that we're going to correct our mistakes, or much like learn from them. Bear in mind. According to the PNP Youth Organization, it saw firsthand the critical failures in the party machinery that limited the capacity to mobilize even a traditional bloc of voters. I think this is Crystal Thomas's quote, but whatever. PNP on Monday night locked in an executive battle at the meeting at the Michael University College where several issues critical to the party's functioning were being discussed. All right, among them is grumbling among the. Hold on, let me turn the page. The redundancy exercise that was executed by the party and some of its core staff to defeat the polls. Gleaner understands that the National Workers Union has sought to step in as workers demand transparency. At least one motion was tabled at the meeting concerning feet of the president. It is understood but will be discussed at another confab. Alright, so blah blah blah. So just focus on GLP and that's it. Now, in short, what has happened is that the PNPYOs basically, and it's very obvious that they're vying to vying to run the party, especially with Crystal Thomas, and that they're basically saying that this is our time to really move away up in the ranks, and that's why they're giving this ultimatum. And one thing I've said is that yeah, the PNP they screwed up themselves by ignoring and marginalizing the younger members. I mean the ones that are still there. I mean the ones that are still there, like Damian Crawford, Crystal Thomason, and a few. Yeah, they're basically they're damaged goods, much like their older counterparts. Because as you know, Crystal Thomason pretty much lost her seat, just like Phillips and pretty much most everybody else in the party. All right, so basically that's the thing that's not really helping Tomlinson at this moment. And yeah, while I did do initial corner on Crystal Tomlinson when I was with my main YouTube page, and I was basically saying that okay, she may possibly have potential. I mean, I don't remember what the exact words I said. And so far, She's not learned the common sense principle of being tactful with her words. Cause remember she recently, I think last year, basically aired out the PNP, and by basically throwing on part on the bus early this year, which again caused a lot of froms to happen through a lot of the executive board at the PNP. And I basically said to myself, yeah, she's on borrowed time at this point because they're going to find a way to undermine her. Now, this little barrage that she threw at her at behalf of PNPYO, you just okay. What's the term I'm going to draw from right here? Okay, it's like you're basically helping to dig that grave even further. Like you're just adding more depth to that coffin you're going to be buried in, or basically you're putting the final nail on the coffin. Because why this is not a good idea, I mean, is that what's going to happen is that the elders, or well, the olders as I like to call them, they're going to use this as the opportunity to furthermore undermine the PNPYO. Now, bear in mind the PNP makes no delusion that they don't give a damn about the younger members. I mean, they've driven out a lot of the ones, and if you check my other corner about the fall of the old guard, I highlight that further and why that helped to play the role in the loss. And bear in mind, even a lot of the younger ones are still there, ones who got crushed as well. Even they had to take some of that punishment because of the mishaps of that a lot of the olders made. Now, what this is going to do to the olders, and I've said this, that if this party is going to get better or even going has a chance of rebrand itself, a lot of the dinosaurs have to go. Now, what you're doing is that you're going to cause, and you saw this happen with Peter Phillips and Peter Bunting. That again was not about these two personally. It was about what each man symbolized. And I already told you over and over again, Phillips represents the old guard. Bunting, yeah, while he's not really exactly in his teenage years at this point, he represents the young guard. Well, younger than most of that of the dinosaurs, so to speak. What this is going to cause them to do is say, okay, you're flying past the place, so we're going to make an example of you. I mean, we know that you have some aspirations to take over the leadership, or that you think you're going to move someplace up in the line. Okay, we're going to push you back further in the line because we're going to most likely put on our own more dinosaurs in it. I mean, it's not because that particular dinosaur who is most likely going to succeed Peter Phillips will be a better choice. It's just we want to teach a lesson, all right? And the thing is and the thing with Crystal Tomlinson, all right, is that there's old the Jamaican adage, "K by your mouth." Yeah, so I mean, like, if she had not just said what she just said, she should have. All right, that's going to work against the PNPYO in the end, because a lot of the elders who I know are not going to go quietly. They're going to say to themselves, okay, we care more about that hierarchy that's within our ranks than making any common sense and progressive type of change. We're just going to say we are going to we're going to find a way to put you in line right now. So, and the thing is, and what you've done is unfortunate. As much as people dislike Phillips as a leader, you've given him some ounce of sympathy right there. Because even with the people who don't like Phillips, they're saying to him, that was mad disrespectful giving this guy an ultimatum. What they should have done, and this is for the younger, the ones that are still in the PNP, what you should have done is that one, work on trying to rebrand yourselves, all right? Because instead of just doing this ultimatum thing or think you're going to move up the line. Now, personally, I would have just, Tomlinson and all of them should have just be saying, let's just leave and do our own things. But again, you're showing that you have the same disposition as the olders because you just want power. You're not really looking towards really making any progress or doing or really trying to do what's looking for any type of betterment for the PNP brand or actually being a civil servant. This is what politicians should be. You're basically saying, okay, it's our turn, we're waiting long enough. We're going to move up in line, we're going to cut that line. And the older say, no, okay, we're going to push you back out to the line actually. We're going to push you back further in the line. And this is why you shouldn't have tipped your hand right here. What you should have done is just, let's keep silent for a moment, see how things are playing, work on rebranding yourself. And because the thing is that, and the thing is, I would say this is that you should have just laid back right now, wait, bide your time, and then see what goes. Because a lot of rebranding needs to be done. And the thing is that by just doing that, you're just giving the olders more of an incentive that say, okay, we don't care how this is going to make our party look. We're just going to be more and more concerned about pushing you guys back as a result. And this is why Crystal Tomlinson should have just shut up. All right, you should have said, I'm just going to hold my tongue for the time being, whatever. All right, and just see how it plays out. And the thing is, as I said, I know people will say, okay, even if she didn't say anything, they still are going to put the dinosaurs are still going to put them each other over the younger ones. Yeah, of course, obviously that if that anyone was not clear on how that was going to go, yeah, you're a damn fool. But the thing is that this, you're again, you shouldn't have tipped your hand like that because you're just creating some kind of sympathy for it. And what I should have said is, okay, we are going to look towards rebranding yourselves, and then if they and like I said, and the thing is, I said that we should have worked on more subtle means of trying to move up. Provided they're not really on the same tip as the olders. Bear in mind, rather than saying this right away, like thing to do is like when you're at a disadvantage, don't tip your hand way right away though. And the fact that Crystal Tomlinson lost her seat. Yeah, that's not really going to help things right here. So all I can say, this is a lesson that a lot of younger politicians have to learn. That yeah, a lot of the older ones do not give a damn about you. That they're afraid of the threat they might pose. They don't want this possibility that the younger ones, provide that they have the right ideology, can learn from their mistakes and actually want to do better, are going to like break that infrastructure that Jamaica's based on. But the thing to do is that don't do it in a way that just shows that hey, I'm not any different from the olders, the ones that are setting a bad example already. And this is a case study of why you don't want to tip your hand right away. All right, because what you're doing, as I said, you're just giving Phillips more sympathy, and again, they're going to basically say, okay, we're just going to put another um, failed damaged goods candidate, one that's pretty much another dinosaur as Phillips's replacement. Because we're just going to teach you young Turks, hey, don't fly past your place. Yeah, you just gave them incentive to undermine you even further, though. No, personally, I do think that Crystal Tomlinson in particular is on her way out now, because they're basically they've have a they have a tally of all the things that she said and done, and they're basically saying that sword of Damocles is dangling right over her head, and that's the string that's holding up that sword. That string is about to break soon before that sword comes down and stabs you right through the skull. Yeah, the sword of Damocles is right over her head, and it's going to any day now that sword is going to drop on her head, and so on. All right, and chances are they probably might replace with another well, whichever young person's still there. They're going to replace with someone who's a bit more subservient and one is willing to put up with being undermined and marginalized. But at least that new replacement for her, who's inevitably going to come, whether or not she's forced out to resign, yeah, that person is going to be most, that person is most likely going to know better than to not really give ultimatums or thinly veiled threats out loud like here. So this is just a lesson that a lot of young politicians have to learn, especially in Jamaica. And young politicians are the future of Jamaica, but unfortunately, if you had the same mindset of the older ones who are no good, yeah, no. And this is one example what you don't do. So this is a case study. So this is for my state of Jamaican Caribbean. Check out my YouTube pages, Miles Goods and Farron, Miles Jeff Productions, and Real Thoughts of Miles.